Welcome to our market recap for April 23, 2026, analyzing the latest market movements and key geopolitical influences. It was a mixed day in the markets, shaped significantly by geopolitical events, especially concerning the US and Iran. Let's first look at the political context that set the tone for the day's trading. President Trump announced an indefinite ceasefire extension with Iran, a major diplomatic move that impacted market sentiment. However, stalled talks and continued military posturing highlighted the underlying fragility of this diplomatic backdrop, keeping investors cautious. Now, let's turn our attention to the performance of U.S. equities. In a standout performance, U.S. equities surged, rising to fresh record highs. This impressive rally was fueled by strong corporate earnings reports, coupled with optimism surrounding the extended ceasefire with Iran. Beyond U.S. equities, other markets displayed a more varied picture. Overall, global markets were mixed, showcasing varied reactions to the day's news across different regions and asset classes. Moving to fixed income, here's how the bond market reacted amid inflation fears. Bond yields saw an upward movement during the day. This increase in yields was primarily linked to ongoing inflation concerns, largely driven by persistent energy supply risks in the geopolitical environment. Next, let's review the day's movements in the foreign exchange market. The US dollar firmed modestly, gaining support from overall risk sentiment in the market. Comments pointing to increased demand for US FX swap lines also provided a modest boost to the US dollar. In other currency news, the Australian dollar outperformed most of its major peers. Finally, we examine the performance of commodities, starting with oil. Oil prices surged significantly as supply risks remained elevated, despite the ceasefire extension between the US and Iran. Metals, in general, firmed up, and iron ore managed to edge slightly higher. However, iron ore's gains were capped, following a resolution to the months-long dispute between major mining companies BHP and CMRG. That wraps up our market recap for April 23rd. The mixed performance reflects a cautious optimism around the ceasefire, balanced by persistent inflation and supply risks. Join us next time for more market insights.